keep hearing noises, and I'm thinking it's John, but it's the cat, the older cat. Toby's right over here in front of me, just waiting to make his grand entrance. Well, hello everyone. My name's Robin, you know that, and this is Knotting Hook Crochet, and you know that too. So, I got to go visit Sue and go to Joann's and Michael's to do some yarn shopping. So I have to tell you, it's about an hour drive to get to her and then an hour drive home. So I get there, you know, we chit chat. She shows me her new yarn setup because she got herself some cube shelves so that she can get her yarn out of the totes and up where she can see them. And then we chit chat a little more and we decide, let's go on over to Joann's. So we go in, and the first thing I did is they had their wood crates on sale. So I grabbed a couple of those and put them in our basket. And then we wander back to the yarn, but the yarn is like scattered throughout the store, like with all these cardboard displays going down the aisle. And we get back there and we're walking through and we can't find it. So she finds one of the employees and asks, so the lady shows us where it's at. And I really wanted to get some video footage, but there wasn't anything to video because there were 6 cardboard bins, basically empty. They had a few colors, but it was like 1 and 1 and 1. So I picked out a few colors and Sue picked out a few colors. There was one that had like maybe 6 or 7 skeins of the same color. I don't remember what it was, but for some reason, it was like, you know, it wasn't the greatest of colors. But I picked 3. Then we go over to Michael's because I wanted to look at the Sweet Snuggles Light and the Home Chenille, I think it's called. I should have like notes with this stuff right in front of me so I can remember the names. And of course, they're out of stock too. I mean, you almost have to do the stuff online, but I really needed to feel the the Posh Yarn first before I took the plunge, because some of them are just like, for me, not fun to work with. So after Michael's, which I don't think either one of us bought anything in there. I think we were just in, we looked and we left. And then it's like, we're starving. Let's go have lunch. Now for me, this is a big treat, but we went to Firehouse Subs and I got a New York steamer and she tried their new meatball subs. We went back to her house and had lunch and chatted some more. And, you know, we just had a good time. It's nice to be able to get out and about around people who enjoy doing the same types of things that you do. So, about 3:30ish, I think it was, I headed home because nobody wants to get stuck in Tampa traffic, especially on the interstate when it's dead stop, bumper to bumper. Nobody wants to get stuck in that. So I make it home and I finished up the one project that I had already started, which I'm not showing you in this video. And then I got to play with the big twist. The 3 colors that I purchased, one was this pink color. It is Strawberry Shortcake. Now I haven't tried this one yet. I got Earl Grey. This one I tried. And there's one thing about this yarn I can tell you for sure, is it comes with yarn barf just like any other yarn. That is what is left of the yarn barf, because I did use this a little bit in a project. The other color that I got was Blueberry Smoothie. This light blue, and it's a pretty blue. So I used quite a bit of this one already. And I could probably, for what I made with it, I could probably make another one with it. But you don't get to see that in this video. So my impressions with working with it, the first thing I did was like with these 3 colors, what can I make? So I chose to do a mini bird. So when I'm feeling the yarn, to me, it does not feel like Parfait Chunky, but it does not feel like Bernat Blanket type or Premier Basics chenille. It's got its own unique feel. It's familiar, but I cannot put my finger on what it is. So I did a little mini bird with the blue and white, and look at how nice those stitches show up. So it felt and looked thinner than Parfait Chunky, but it worked nice. Like normally with Parfait Chunky, I use a 5mm hook. So with this, I started with a 4.5 because it looked and felt thinner to me. And that was a little tight. So I bumped it up to the 5mm and I did the mini bird. So, and this is, now they're not the same colors because, you know, I didn't have much of a color choice on this. This is a mini bird with the Parfait Chunky and a 5mm hook. And this is a mini bird with the Big Twist Posh with the 5mm hook. And they are very similar in size. This one I think is a little chubbier. It feels, now I could have more stuffing in it, but the yarn itself feels like there's more structure to it. It doesn't feel as flimsy when the piece is worked up. So, and I think I look pretty good as far as like, well, there's one little hole poking through there. So it doesn't look like there's, you don't see stuffing, doesn't look like there's a lot of holes, but I love how the stitches look in this. And the beak, I used some DK yarn left over from my temperature blanket to do the beak. So then I was like, well, what would happen if I bumped it up to a 5.5mm hook? So I just made a little ball. And the 5.5mm, I think is fine. I don't see holes. You know, it's not overstuffed. It's not a big project. It was just a little, real quick, throw it together. Now, I do think, though, when you're on the decrease to close up your project, that might be where you could run into a hole issue. Now, I don't know if that's because I'm getting my stitch too tight or if I'm not getting it tight enough, and that's with using the invisible decrease. But this stuff is totally, totally workable. So when we were at the Joann's and the lady said that she thought they got a truck in and she went to check, well, she couldn't find the yarn. She's like, there's boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff back there, but she couldn't find it. And I was like, that's fine, I'll just order online. So after Thursday night, after getting to play with this, Friday morning, I went online, and don't you know, it won't let me order it to have it shipped. So if I wanted other colors, I have to pick up in store. And my closest store is, of course, an hour away, over in Spring Hill. So I placed an order to pick up myself. Now they had the yarn on sale for $5.99, and because I was doing the pickup, but I think anybody, you know, they just try to make it sound good. I got to use a 20% off coupon, so they were like $4 and some change for the yarn. So I placed the order, and then they email you to let you know when it's back. Well, in the meantime, I had a few orders, I think 4 or 5 orders for my button shop that I wanted to get made and get to the post office so that, because Monday's a shipping holiday for the post office, I wanted to give it a head start instead of waiting for the Saturday carrier. So I'm rushing to get those done so I can get to the post office before it closes. Plus I needed to pick up my toner. So ever since the post office misdelivered my $400 package, and I know it went to the neighbor because that's where their GPS scanned it, and they tried 3 times to retrieve the package, and the neighbor kept saying they didn't get it, and I know they did. So there's that. So anything that's expensive, I send to the P.O. box. So I needed to pick that up. And I was like, just take the packages with you. So I gather up the packages, I go out the door, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. I still had my envelope sitting on my desk for my tax payment. So I set everything down on the chair on the porch. I go back inside. You guys aren't gonna believe what happened to me. I go back inside, I'm like, oh shoot, I need to put a stamp on it. So I get out the stamps, I put it on it, grab my envelope, go out the door, pick up all my stuff, put everything in the car, walk over to the gate and open it, come back to the car, get in, and I have no keys. I have locked myself out of the house. And I'm like, at this point, I'm in a panic because I'm like, what am I gonna do? This is like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and Jenna doesn't get off work until 7. John won't get home till around 7. I'm like, I cannot sit outside for 4 hours. Nothing to drink, no bathroom, no food. My phone's only got a 50% charge, so I would kill that real quick trying to amuse myself. What am I gonna do? So I decided to start checking windows. So I checked the ones on the porch that go into the living room. They're all shut and locked. Checked the ones over by the craft room. And even if I could have gotten one of those open, I wouldn't have been able to get in because of the furniture that's in front of the windows. But they were locked. Now I'm to the point where I just want to cry because I'm like major stressed. And I go over and I sit in the car and I started thinking, I need to check these other windows, but I'm looking at like all the plants and everything that are in front of them, and I'm not wanting to step into the plants for fear of spiders. So I walk around the other side of the house, and there was the window in the dining room where we placed the window shaker when the air conditioner was broke. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, that does not look like it is shut all the way. So I pulled the screen out, pushed up on it, and sure enough, the window was open. And thank God, these are low windows. Like, I didn't have to try and lift my body up to get into a window. I would have never been able to do it. No upper body strength, and let's face it, the years have not been kind. So the window's low enough where I can like just step in. So I get one leg in and my body, and now it's like you got the blinds, you got a chair that the cats with all their dashing around the house is pushed back. So I got to move the chair out of the way, and the blinds are there, and I'm halfway in, and now I got to get the other leg in, and it's like you're all curled up in this little itty bitty space. By the time I made it in, I was like so flustered, so aggravated. I sent Sue a text. I'm like, I am too old for this. You know what? A not so nice word for doo-doo. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I locked myself out of the house and I had to climb in a window. Okay, so we do that. I get in the car and I'm just sitting there with the car running, going like, I don't want to do this, but I need to do this. And I don't want to do this, but I need to do this. So I go ahead and I head to the post office. So I go in and I drop off my packages, and then I go over to the P.O. box and open it up, and there's 2 keys in there. And I was like, oh, somebody sent me something. I mean, I was expecting the 1 key for my toner. So I get the keys and the junk mail that's in there and go around, find the boxes. The first box I get open, and it's my toner. And then I try to open the second box. The key won't work for me. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I go back in over to the desk to ask for some help, and the guy comes out, and it opened no problem for him. But inside there was a nice package, some happy mail from Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. And I'm waiting to hear back from her before I show you what she sent me. So I get that. I get in the car. And now I'm going to head over to Spring Hill for Joann's. So I'm driving, and it's forever. And of course, the roads are under construction, so it makes it take even longer. So I find the place, and I pull up into one of their parking spots for where you park for the pickup orders. Get on my phone, and I go to the email, and I hit the button that says, tell them I'm here. So I do. And it says, do you want to stay on the web or go to the app? Well, I don't have the app on my phone. So I said, stay on the web. And I get there, and it's like, you have to make a selection. But there is no selection. I can hit, I'm here, and then it goes back to, do I want to stay on the web or go to the app? And I'm like, oh, please. So I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to download the app. Well, Apple doesn't like me. Every time I try to download an app, it will not take my password, and I have to reset my password. And I just had to do this the other day. So the password is fresh in my memory. It's not that I have it wrong. It just doesn't like me. So I can't get the app to work. I can't download it or anything. So finally, I just turn the car off, and I go inside. And thank goodness the way it's set up, their pickup order things are right there at the cash register. So it wasn't a major ordeal. But I go inside, and I tell the lady, and I'm like really super flustered at this point. And I said, I am so sorry. I cannot figure out how to make this work to tell you that I'm here. But I am here to pick up my package. And she was so nice. She was nice. So, oh my goodness. So she gives me my stuff. I go back out to the car and get back on the road. And I'm like, oh God, my eyes are floating. And I'm trying to convince myself I can make it home. I get a couple miles down the road, and then I'm like, I'll never make it home. It's too long of a drive. And I need gas. So I pull over to a 7-Eleven, pull up to the pumps, go inside, ask if I can use the restroom, get myself a drink, pay for some gas, walk back out to my car to find out that I pulled up to the pump wrong, and the gas tank is on the other side. And I'm just like, are you serious? Now there's people behind me. So I go back in, and I asked her if she can move my pump to a different pump so I can pull around and be parked in the right spot. I was just not having a good day. So I finally make it home. Had to cook dinner, and all the mess that goes along with it. So by the time I finally got to sit down and do anything, I just really wasn't in the mood. It was a tough day. But I haven't even opened my bag yet. My trash bag that they gave me on the yarn. So we're going to do that together and see what I got, because I didn't get to look at all the colors because I didn't have all the colors in stock at the first Joann's. So I was just like, I'll get 2 of this and 2 of this and 2 of this. And let's see what I got. Okay, so we got 2 black sesame ice cream, 2 brown butter. Now that's a nice brown. None of my other ones, Parfait Chunky has several browns, but Bernat, there's not a good brown. The Sweet Snuggles and Home Slim, they have a brown, but it's super, super dark. And then they have a tan. I think they call it sand or something like that. But there's like no brown in between. But this is a nice brown. I like this brown. So 2 of those. This one's a pretty color too. And that noise you hear is, of course, Toby. He's playing in a box or eating the box, one or the other. This one is croissant. So it's a nice color. We got 2 of all of them. Now the white, the whipped cream, nice names, feels a little bit different from the other ones. Maybe a little bit thinner. We'll see when I work with it. I mean, they are saying that it's a 5, but 2 whipped cream. And this is what Sue was looking for, but her store didn't have any white. They didn't have any black. They didn't have a lot of stuff. And 2 lemon meringue. That's a pretty yellow. It's nice and it's bright, but it's not over bright. If you know what I'm saying. It's got color to it, but it's not like a neon yellow. So 2 of those. 2 glow warm. I want to say worm, but it's glow warm. This to me looks like a fluorescent color. It's so bright green, but it's a pretty green. So 2 of those. Now, what am I going to make with all of these? I haven't a clue, but we'll come up with something. Especially since these are such nice, bright springtime colors. Then some sherbet glow. I want to say this is the closest thing to an orange, but it's pretty. And strawberry glow. I think strawberry, I think red, but this is definitely pink. 2 of those. The pile's getting pretty high over here. The last color is mint chip. And this made me think of the mint chocolate chip turtles from All From Jade, was what I had in mind when I picked this color online. And because their browns are nice, and if I wanted a darker brown, I could always use Parfait with it. But the browns are in the tan, like the croissant and the whatever that brown color was. Now, if I was smart, which I wasn't, since I used most of my blue, I would have added some of the blue to the cart if they had it. I don't remember. Now, they're darker blue. I didn't, at least online, I didn't care for how that color looked. But now I have to find a home for all of this. You guys are a bad influence on me, telling me about new yarns and stuff, so I have to go out and buy it and try it when I'm trying to clear out some of the stuff I already have. It won't go to waste, so it'll get used. It's just a matter of when. In my adventure of trying to get some big twist posh, I spent over 4 hours driving between the 2 days, and basically I would say it was successful. I would have preferred that they be able to ship me these other colors instead of me having to drive over there and spend all that time. But they'll get it worked out. When I mentioned it to the lady at the cash register, she said she had a lot of people telling her that. She said, if you want to order it online, call the customer service because there's some type of issue with the website that's not allowing it to be online. So keep that in mind. So if you want to try and order it and have it shipped to you, call their customer service. For me, I mean, for anybody that orders it to have it shipped to them, you have to wait to get it, but to not have to spend all that time driving after I had already frazzled myself for the day. I would have preferred that. But next time I'll know. At least now I have some colors to work with. Now, they need a red. I'm trying to think of what other color I would really like them to have with this. Definitely a red. I'll have to think on it. I'm having a day. It keeps falling out of the bag. Connie had asked a question. She wanted to know about this blanket that's behind me. I made that, and I don't remember what year it was. I'm sure I could go back on my Instagram because I was posting pictures as I went that I made it. But it was the year that they did the Roseanne reboot. And back in the 90s, I used to love Roseanne. If I needed to get a good laugh for the day, I would watch that show. And if I was in a bad mood, I was in a good mood by the time the show was over, because it used to make me laugh so much. And I just remembered her blanket being on the back of their sofa. So when they did the reboot and there's that blanket, I'm like, I have to make one. So all of this yarn, with the exception of the black, were all leftover little balls of yarn. I couldn't even tell you without counting how many different colors I used in that. It was whatever I had, as long as it was enough that it could appear in the blanket at least 3 times, and not just like the center. It needed to be able to, like, there's red here and red here. You know, I needed to be able to place it somewhere throughout. Black was the only color that I had to buy to be able to do, you know, around every single square. But that was it. I just loved her blanket, and I wanted a Roseanne blanket, so I made one. And that's, Connie, I'm sorry it was not more exciting, but that's my story about the blanket behind me. And Barbara, check your email. So that's my big story. Locking myself out of the house, climbing in a window. Just, Friday was a rough day. All right, you guys, I'm going to say, see you later. And I will talk to you in this video over here, or come back probably tomorrow, because this is like a little bonus video. If you come back tomorrow, fingers crossed, you'll get to see which brain fart, which loveys I made out of the Mama Makes Minis lovey book that I bought. So I did a few of them, but that's going to be a separate video. All right, you guys, I will see you next time.